Young Turks now has audio, the TYT Audio Network, podcasts of some of your favorite shows and new shows, including one with Nina Turner, former Ohio State Senator. She's going to do We the People with Nina Turner, talking about equality and justice and seeing that through the eyes of regular Americans who are affected by politics and policy. Everybody check it out at tyt.com/audio.
The for-profit prison industry is making a killing in the Trump era, especially after he has pushed for draconian policies in response to immigration in the United States. So there are two main for-profit prison corporations. One of them is known as CoreCivic, which used to be referred to as Correction Corporation of America. They rebranded themselves because they got a lot of negative press. There's also GEO Group. Well, under the Trump administration, CoreCivic shares are up 20% since April 2nd, and GEO Group shares have risen almost 34%. So in just a few months, the stock prices have gone up considerably, and it is a direct response to Trump's immigration policies. GEO operates one of the 3 family centers for detention, the Carnes Family Residential Center in Carnes City, Texas. In operation since 1984, GEO owns or manages 141 prisons or detention centers totaling about 96,000 beds. I always love mentioning that they were founded in 1984 because that is the perfect year to symbolize the privatization of our prison systems. And it was also a direct response to the over-criminalization of those in possession of marijuana. Our publicly funded, by the way, private prisons are publicly funded, but federal and state prisons were so full of marijuana possessors that these smart and savvy entrepreneurs decided, hey, we can make a lot of money by housing some of these prisoners ourselves. And they have been pushing for tough on crime legislation ever since. And that's one of the reasons why we incarcerate more people than any country in the world. In the world, we are the top incarcerators in the United States.
We had a talk during the production meeting about financial strategies, and I wish that I could go back.
No, you don't.
And talk to myself. No, not just about this, but just write down the list of the 10 swampiest industries and go back and invest every cent you have in them.
No,
because they are having a field day over the past year and a half. Oh my God, things were sweet for them already, but they have been, so those stocks went up like 20, 30% in the last 3 months. I showed you a story this morning that I found out actually was mistaken. It was from a year ago, but it said that at that point, 2 of these private prison companies, their stocks had gone up by 100 or 140% in like 2 months after Trump was sworn in.
Yes, they knew that the Trump administration, he ran on a law and order platform, right? And so
there won't be any law, there won't be any order, but there will be imprisonments.
That's exactly right. And so we are, again, funneling taxpayer money to the tune of tens of millions of dollars to each one of these detention centers that housed is a very polite word, but incarcerated essentially these immigrant children. And the same goes for the detention centers that focus primarily on adults. Now, there are family facilities, which again is a euphemism. These are prisons essentially where the families are kept together. They're gonna get huge government contracts as well. They call themselves private prisons, but they are privately run, publicly financed. It is our taxpayer money that goes to these very corporations that push for policies that incarcerate us. So we pay them to essentially push for policies that make our nonviolent behavior criminal. Now, in the case of immigrants, a lot of Americans have bought into the notion that we should imprison them. But you want to talk about fiscal conservatism. This is certainly not fiscal conservatism. GEO also recorded revenues of $2.26 billion, up nearly 4% over the previous year. And just to give you a little statement from the CEO of GEO Group, George Zolli has told Wall Street analysts during an earnings conference that he expects GEO will be awarded additional contracts from ICE and the US Marshals Service. That's where your money's going. Don't let anyone fool you into thinking that the Trump administration genuinely cares about law and order. What the Trump administration cares about, just like many other corrupt politicians, is ensuring that corporations like GEO Group and Corrections Corporation of America, CoreCivic, whatever you want to call it, get these massive government contracts that are funded by us, US taxpayers. It's a huge money-making scam, and we have bought into it because we've allowed our media to feed us all sorts of propaganda about how politicians are trying to keep us safe. They're not trying to keep us safe. They're trying to pay their buddies.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.